Alright guys, so before we hop in this video, be sure to check out the last two episodes on the brand new daily driver that I had just purchased for myself, replacing my Volvo. Hope you guys enjoy this episode.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is early morning here. We got a nice cold start for you on this Saab today. Before we get into it, bam! And if you guys haven't watched the last video on this car, we put a new exhaust, new muffler on there. So there is that cold start for you on that. Sounding pretty good. I got one more thing for you, that's a surprise. We got another engine light. Alright guys, so here we are. We finally got some heat in the engine, just topped off the fuel tank, which was giving some issues filling up. So I don't know if it's the fuel pump or maybe the car. But either way, this car is great. You want to know how you know? Is because it lays around. It's the extra car around my parents' house. I'll drive it, my dad will drive it. But here you go. The other day I got there early morning and the car's not there. I was like, okay, you know, whatever. My dad took the car somewhere. Nope. Wasn't my dad. My mom took the car out. That's how you know Saab is great, because she knows. She used to have one, and you know, having this back around, not only is it the same color as the car she used to have, but you know, she likes it, and that's how you know Saab is great. She's got a brand new 2020 XC60 and in the garage. This one sits outside, granted, and it's winter time. So you know it's good when she goes into a cold car in the winter time to take the Saab out. Alright guys, out of all the cars, they're taking off in the Saab. Look at that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's that's pretty humorous. I actually got a little laugh out of that. I did an LOL, laughed out loud. And so yeah, so here we are. We're driving the Saab. We got brand new tires on this car yesterday with a fresh alignment, and of course she's running really good, smooth, just the way she's supposed to. You know, that's what Saabs are for, running good. And I got Bridgestone tires. I wanted to share this with you. I got Bridgestone tires instead of Michelin because I don't know, they were a little bit less expensive, but they're decent tires. You know, not that I was worried about spending the money because obviously we're keeping the car, but the Continental Extreme, the DWSs, I've been using those tires for years. If any of you guys out there use those tires, it's an amazing all-season tire that has great performance in the summer, and of course fantastic performance in the wet weather, right? Snow and rain. And it's a softer metal, or excuse me, a softer rubber. So with these cars, especially the Saabs, for me it tended to always kind of go through tires a little bit fast, especially like on the outer side. And when I ordered it, it was the first time I've ever experienced this. Tire Rack actually called me. I ordered it off TireRack.com. Not sponsored by them, just throwing it out there. And the guy's like, you know, with the weight of your car, these tires will work. He says, but you're like right on the threshold. You know, if you were to load the car up with a lot of people or whatever, that you could, you know, risk having a tire blowout. And it's amazing because I've never in my entire life, out of the last 10 years driving 9.5s around and buying 10 or 15 pairs of DWSs at this point, I don't know, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of different DWS tires. Every 2 years I'm putting new tires on, right? And never had that experience, so just wanted to share that with you. So if you're driving the 9.5, just note the weight limitation of the Continental DWSs. So anyways, we got the Bridgestone all-season tires on here. I put them on the Turbo X a couple months back before we sold it, and they seem to be very good tires. Everybody on the channel really supported that decision and talked very, very, very highly of them. So of course, when I had the option of spending the premium on the Pilot, the Michelin Pilot Sports all-season tires, whatever they are, and the Bridgestone, of course I just went with the Bridgestone because it's It's got a good speed rating of 130 miles an hour plus. It's got the weight, and of course the mileage is about the same, you know, the same required or the same similar distance of tire tread as the other competitors, right? 50,000 miles, which I don't know, unless I'm driving straight highway all the time, I typically don't get more than like 36,000 miles out of a pair of tires, so 2 years. But I have seen tires, I have gone 60,000 miles on a pair of tires before, not on a Saab, but on another SUV we've owned, but we did tons and tons of highway driving with it. So that was the only time I really got to see 60,000 miles. So it is doable, but not when you're doing a ton of city driving. And of course, in a Saab, you can potentially be doing a lot of back road, having fun drive, which obviously, you know, also takes its toll on these tires. So there's an update for you guys. In the beginning of the video here, I showed you guys we have a check engine light, so I'm gonna try to see if we can diagnose that in this video. We've driven 1,200 miles in the last 3 weeks, and we haven't really had any issues other than the radiator and now this. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. A couple things that I noticed at a stop is I'm getting a lot of fumes in the car from exhaust, and obviously, as you guys know, the exhaust is fully been addressed, right? There's no leaks. We have a new center pipe. So I don't know what's going on, why there's exhaust fumes coming in the car. I gotta check under the engine bay, but also just now filling up at the fuel tank, the gas pump kept knocking off. So I'm not sure if we have another issue. So anyways, stay tuned. There's the update for you on the new tires. This thing, guys, we've been through the ringer with this car the last couple months, not only between elective maintenance but also and selective maintenance, but also just fluke of issues that had arose. But listen, we got over 200,000 miles on it, and I'm not driving it like it's a old car. I'm driving this like I would drive any of my cars. I'm ripping on it, I'm cruising it, I'm road tripping it. So I mean, I'm not allowing the miles to phase my driving. I'm driving the way I normally drive, and of course overall it's handling it perfectly. But of course, every once in a while we run into a little hiccup because of its age. So it's par for the course. It's good content for all of you guys, and of course most of this time I'm getting a little laugh out of it because you can't make some of this stuff up. And luckily for me, I'm not relying on this car solely, so you know, no stress. So it's all fun and games. So stay tuned. I'm gonna hopefully get an OBD scanner hooked up to this, but if you guys watched the video the last couple of weeks, the OBD port is not working. There isn't power going to the power line, so I guess I'm gonna have to get under there and see what the relays look like. What I've researched and what I've been told is there's a fuse box on the dashboard, there's a fuse box in the engine bay, and then there's one more relay box that's actually sitting right underneath the steering wheel here. So we're gonna get in there and hopefully see if we have luck finding something there. So stay tuned. Hope this video so far is informative. It is super early in the morning, so if I seem a little tired, it's because I'm still drinking my coffee, and not trying to be boring, just a little informative here, and of course a wonderful update. All right, boys, so we are under the hood here, and it's just amazing to me how this engine has over 200,000 miles on it, and it just sounds freaking perfect. It looks freaking perfect, so it's just a really great testament to these cars. Despite a little engine light, I'm not really too concerned about it. It could be like an O2 sensor or something silly. I'm not really too sure what's going on there, so hopefully our OBD scanner will work. I'm not sure what the hell is to do here, but everything looks to be in place. The vacuum lines are good. I checked everything. Of course, we just replaced them a couple months ago, so I'm not worried about a leaking one, but you just never know with these things. Sometimes something happens, but everything looks okay under here. The last thing I'd like to mention is the new tires outside. Here you go. It smells really nice. You can smell the rubber from outside the car. That's how you know it's fresh, so pretty awesome. But yeah, this is the new car. If you guys haven't watched it, this is my new daily driver, and Saab, and you guys can see that like the size of the cars are pretty much the same length. So you know, this seems like it's a bigger car. It might be a little taller, but in terms of the length and the cabin space, they seem to be pretty similar. And I know that to be almost true because Melanie has sat in the back seat here and loves it. Not only because it has a heated seat, which our Saabs most of the time have, but the space is nice. So yeah, let me hook up the OBD. Maybe we get lucky on this. All right, boys, so just an update for you. In the last couple episodes, I tested the power on the OBD port, and there was no power coming from the positive line. I'm really not too sure what to look for or what to look at, so if anybody has any suggestions, I'm in dire need. But in the meantime, to try to reset this engine light, I just pulled the battery and doing like a hard reset on the ECU. So hopefully that can address it for now, but obviously if there's an issue, the engine light's gonna come back and we're still not gonna really know what is going on. So if you guys can give me some ideas in the comments section, much needed. All of our fuses here are solid, and I'm really not too sure where to look underneath the dash here. So please drop a comment and hopefully we can address it. But in the meantime, I have the other 9.5 coming here any minute, the other Saab 9.5 that we rebuilt from Copart. If you guys haven't watched that build, I'll link the playlist above. We purchased it with a front end wreck like a year and a half ago, and it had another wreck about a year ago, so we rebuilt it again last January, or this past January. So things been running great. All right, guys, so here is the 2008 9.5 that we rebuilt from that front end wreck, and I got engine code P1181, which has something to do with air fuel. It could be the O2 sensors, which is most likely not the case. It could be a failing fuel pump or failing injectors, which is also most likely not the case because this car has no miles on it, so under 100,000 miles. And the other two were mass airflow sensor or evap line leaking. So we checked out the throttle body area. Everything seems to be fine. I tightened down the throttle body inlet tube. It could be a bad intake gasket. Again, I highly doubt it. This engine is super young and the car is super young. Everything is really clean under here, so I don't suspect that being an issue. The last thing that could be an issue is the mass airflow sensor. So I took this off and cleaned it. Now this car had a front end wreck right here originally, so maybe this sensor, this mass airflow sensor, is bad. So potentially that's the culprit. I do have an extra mass airflow sensor laying around, so if this does happen to be an issue, I just cleaned it with some mass airflow sensor cleaner, see if that fixes it. If it doesn't address the issue, then obviously we'll replace the mass airflow sensor and go from there. I don't suspect an evap leak. Again, everything seems to be solid on this car, and it has 98,000 miles on the odometer, so I can't see other things being a real issue like the intake gasket or O2 sensors. I've never had a failing O2 sensor, knock on wood, but I highly suspect that's not the issue. And then of course the fuel pump, you know, these cars should last at least 150,000 on the fuel pump, minimum 140. So yeah, so I'm gonna put this back together, reset the light, and then hopefully she's good to go. This car will be used now much more. She's going to be commuting with this car 2 hours a day, hour to work, hour back for now. So it's going to be getting the most use it's ever seen this next couple months that it's seen in the last full year and a half. So all good. Let's see what happens. But that's the update for you on both 9.5s. I did a hard reset on that 9.5. I pull on the battery and there's no more engine light. So I'm going to drive it later today again. I gotta go do a lot of driving today, so another 100 miles I'll drive on it, see if that light comes back on. But so far, if you guys have any comments on the OBD, that would be awesome. And here's an update for you on the Copart 9.5.